Well, the natural heir to Alex's flair and passion and style at the table was obviously Jimmy White, and of course Ronnie O'Sullivan, who's featuring in this year's final once again. As you may know, 3 finals, 3 world titles, and after he reached a 4th World Championship final by beating Matthew Stevens last night, Steve had a word with him.
You look like you've been enjoying yourself all the tournament.
Yeah, you know, it's been I feel like I've been here about 2 months, to be fair. You know, usually it sort of flies by, but for some reason this time it just seems like it's gone on forever and ever. But yeah, you know, I think the times you win this tournament is in between the matches. You know, when you're out there playing, it's kind of, you're there and you kind of, the natural instincts kick in, but it's kind of not using up too much emotional energy and thoughts in between the matches, because sometimes you can drain yourself and then you get to the table and you think, oh, you know, so 17 days of holding it together it's like the Iron Man of snooker, isn't it?
There's been a few smiles out on the table. I've noticed that you just seem to be enjoying it. On the table, you seem to be enjoying it.
I've been told it helps. It releases happy chemicals, even if I don't mean it.
So far in this tournament, you've beaten some great players. I mean, like, you know, and beaten them well. 3 world champions, 1 UK champion. You must rate your form as pretty strong at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of had some tough matches, Peter Ebdon and Mark Williams and Neil, and you know, there's been times in the tournament where I felt really good, you know, and I thought, you know what, this is, if I could bottle this feeling and take it out every time, you know, I'd play towards 300, you know, it's just a fantastic feeling, but you know, it's not always easy plain sailing, and sometimes you have to kind of, you know, and you and Stephen were the best at it than anyone, you kind of managed to kind of turn things around when it maybe wasn't going so right, so. You know, I think that's been the important part for me, is that I've not kind of beat myself up and allowed a few bad shots to sabotage the whole match, really.
Tell me about your opponent, Ali Carter. So have you practiced much with him over the years when he first came on the scene?
I remember seeing him when he was about 10, actually, and I looked at his cue action and I thought, Jesus, he hits the ball beautiful, and I thought, who is he? And so that was the first time I saw him, and then I see him again at Whitton practicing, and I tipped him to be world champion, and he kind of had a slow start to his career. I remember we got to the semis of the Grand Prix and I thought, okay, that's his breakthrough, he's going to kind of do it now. So I think he's kind of had to work harder than I thought he would have to work to get where he's got, because he's certainly got absolute unbelievable talent, and now he has the temperament, and if you can do it here, you know you've got it.
And a different proposition possibly from 2008?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think I was playing well then, but I kind of felt that I was there for the taking in the final. You kind of get involved in some matches and you think, if he steps up the gas here, I'm not sure I'm able to go with him, and I kind of got absolute massive respect for his game. And in a way I was kind of panicking all the way through that match, and then kind of when I got over the line I was so relieved, because I thought, you know, if he turns it on, maybe, you know, I could be sitting in my chair for a long time. So absolute different proposition now. I think Ali's going to be fancying the job, wants to win the world title, everyone wants to be world champion, so you know, so yeah, he'll be up for it.
The 2 finalists have both got sports psychologists in their corner. You've got Dr. Steve Peters.
He's got Ebdon.
Ali's got Dr. Peter Ebdon. Do you think you got the upper hand?
No, I think you know, it's kind of different. We're looking for different things. Mine was just kind of a sabotage thing, you know. I think once I'm in the right frame of mind and I'm thinking clearly, I'm quite an aggressive player, and I like to be aggressive, and I've always found that would overcome any obstacle that was put in front of me. So you know, Ali's got Peter, and I think Peter will do for Ali what Ray done to me, and you will learn, and it's invaluable, because it just makes you much more of an all-rounder, I think.
You never seem to bother about records, but what would it mean, a 4th world title?
Huge, it'd be massive, you know. Don't get me wrong, I've managed to win 3, but 4 would be fantastic. It kind of put me level with John Higgins. Only 2 behind you, only 3 behind Stephen Hendry. But yeah, 3's nice, 2's great, 3's brilliant, 4's fantastic, 5's dream world, 6 you're a legend, 7 you're, you know. So yeah, listen, it'd be great.
Well, you know, it's fascinating to get into Ronnie's head there, and you know, when he says, if you could bottle that feeling of winning, then he'd play on for another 300 years. And yet, lads, in the papers this morning, they're full of other quotes that he's been giving in different interviews in which he says that he's quite serious about perhaps saying that's it, even at the end of this final. Retirement may beckon. Now, we don't know whether he's serious about it or not, but he's clearly in a very good place thanks to the work of Dr. Steve Peters, as you mentioned. How do you read his current state of mind and the way he is going about his business at the moment?
Well, I think he looks as relaxed, as enjoying it as he's ever done here. That's why I think he's such a danger in this event. As to whether he could retire at the top if he won the World Championship, well, we had spoken for many years backstage amongst all the players that he's the one player we thought would retire before his time was finished. Perhaps Stephen Hendry has beaten him to it, but I wouldn't put it past Ronnie to retire as world champion.
Well, we know that he's always admired Pete Sampras, who went out at the top, and there's a whole list of others, but is it conceivable tomorrow night?
Listen, I don't know. He's the one we have to ask on that. What I could see happening is the fact that he'd get a lot of ranking points for this event. I think he might try and pick and choose next season if he plays. I don't see Ronnie being the type of player playing in every event. I just don't think that suits him, to be honest with you. So it may be a case that he wins this, gets a few points and thinks, well, I'll have 1 or 2 events off if he can do that.
And actually, the quicker we go to a prize money ranking system, it may suit a Ronnie O'Sullivan to dip in and out in tournaments and not have his arm twisted so much to play in smaller events with ranking points.
OK, well, there's a long, long way before there's any decisions to be taken by either player about the way forward. We're just enjoying this final and another 4 frames to play